Presido with the big machine. Your girlfriend wanna for Kati. Turn up for
3 mainland.
Even the other stations are tuned in too.
welcome.
Outbreaks and alarming mortality figures around the world. Sensitization has become a necessary tool of this endeavor. Join Sage Babalola on Health Plus at 11:15 a.m. every Friday as we explore a variety of topics, address health concerns, and provide evidence-based answers from nutrition and mental health to cutting-edge treatments and preventive care. Featuring experts across all sectors of health who will share their invaluable insights and opinions on healthy living. Health Plus aims not just to inform, but to empower you to take control of your health journey. So whether you're managing a chronic condition, seeking healthier lifestyle choices, or just curious about medical news, tune in to Mainland 98.3 FM every Friday from 10:15 a.m. as we lend our voice to the global health movement.
This is
Good morning and welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. It's been a pleasure talking to you all day, although Lady Mo was the one who handled the morning segment, but I did listen, and it's great to see you engage. It's great to see you participate in the conversations that we bring to radio all week long, all day long. Today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. A lot of the 8.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola, and I welcome you to another insightful episode of Health Plus here on Mainland 98.3 FM. And we are going to be talking about a very, very crucial conversation. It's something that plays out a lot with honoring the joy of childhood and sort of reminding us about the importance. So as we're talking about their welfare, it's very important that we shine a light on the conversation on the effect of single parent household becomes at the end of the day, or how they perceive life can be very often linked to the kind of family structure that they grew up in. And single parent families are a part of society. There's nothing you can do about it. Unfortunately, that is what the real effect on their cognitive growth, and that is why today we would be exploring these effects while highlighting the resilience of children and single parents. Navigate a structure when you find yourself within a single parent household. I will be joined by a very, very special guest, one who is very skilled when it comes to conversations like this one and helping navigate one's emotions, especially for children. Her name is Ese Ayabene, morning via the phone as we navigate the intricacies and the complexities of the effect of single
Good morning, Kate. Is going to be in.
Let's go into the conversation today. So, I did highlight earlier that a few days ago we celebrated Children's Day, and it was so wonderful to interact with children and see the big dreams that they have for themselves. But I also said in social settings, and you ask yourself what might be responsible from this deviation that they come from. Ma'am, I want you to talk to us about single parent house from family structures like that one.
So, that's
out with the complexities of single parent houses. What are the things that usually become difficult because of that arrangement?
also how you have most times, which is as a result of one's own background, more collaborative. Every parent has a style. Whether you are conscious or unconscious about it doesn't matter. Every parent has a style. Now, coming to single parent household. As I decide to have a child out of wedlock and has to be married, I actually still run by seeing everything that happens. So how different is that home then to not be available for their children? So it's not just shine light on widowhood and but amazingly, some people are single parents because the decision was I won't have an abortion. So we should not hold that against them. It happens. But now, as a single parent, one needs to now put in extra effort. Because what they now need to do is to make that presence available. Have a friend that becomes a mentor to your child. Did you notice that?
Family.
Exactly. Know some ladies, in case of having a spouse to be available, but maybe the daddy issue. But we have more children having daddy issues, single parenting. So when we hear the word single parenting, less parenting journey, or it's just me. And then the irony of it is because in Africa, the woman is practically the only parent available. So, the father is not available for parent-teachers day. Another downside is when a child is in a home run by a single parent, it lacks the interest of that parent. Now, and then most times they now tend to bond with the wrong set of people, especially when they enter puberty, become teenagers, and they want to get rebellious. If they've formed their mindset, from their character, from their attitude, from behavior. So the first few years of a child's life is very important for a parent or for all sides to have just them, like have the children by themselves, maybe as a lady or as a guy. Okay, I don't want the lady around, I want my child, or the lady on the other child. Make them a part of the child's life. Don't be isolated. The problem we're having in this day is the spirit. I don't know if you grew up in a home where you had your auntie, your uncle, your cousins, everybody around. Did you grow up in that? So can you share a bit about the challenges you had?
Yes, because it wasn't, a father around to help you through that, having to become two. And you think back, I don't want to overburden the single supposed to be a child. And I think anybody is there to support them. They want to do it by themselves. And I think that can lead me to the couple to fully commit themselves because they think that at the end of the day, they will be left something that is common. And is it actually because of growing up in a single parent household?
It's either becoming, like you said, becoming hyper.
Younger brother.
So this attitude is actually peculiar to every first child, not just, it's to install in the first child how they are responsible for everybody.
Right.
So apart from the fact that your father wasn't there, there was this sense of responsibility, right? So we're taking care of the younger one.
Yes.
So you had to grow up fast.
Yes. I didn't
and
like
that
it
is
very
not
much.
peculiar to Yeah, so you didn't really have it. You're going to be a child. So
Yes.
I'm trying to open up the conversation. I'm sure we have 10, 15, 20 people listening in right now. They are like, yeah. Even if they were not raised by just the first few years of some years ago, just before lockdown, and just before I now started studying more about mental resilience, mental strength, and all, I kept going in depression, in and out of depression. So yes, I have my husband around me, also independent. I feel like one day I'm right here. You understand? Because she has learned not to trust me. I like being vulnerable when she needed me. And as I said, the first few years of child's life is really important. And that impact now affected her and made her to grow up really, really fast.
Are there
So in
changes that happen? I know that there are impediments that are born out of the fact that they were
Yes.
raised by, that are usually born in children that are raised in single parent households.
Yeah, so there's a sense of not being out.
Right.
So I can imagine how isolated you were. You go to school,
Yeah.
you see people with their parents talking about their dad, and you have nothing to share.
Oh,
So
I have stories.
unconsciously, it's a social deficit. I feel like they are not, they don't fit in where elders fit in. Only as my parents are fighting, and they can't relate. And they're like, I don't even know what that feels like.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
So it leaves a sense of splitting. We all want to belong. We don't want to be different. But the irony of it is we are one family to the other. There's always a peculiarity. Embrace it and just be, yeah, this is me, and it happens. But it's tough for a child because cognitively until they are 25.
Yes.
The brain is still developing because you don't grow up with the dynamics of having a father and a mother. You don't know how those kind of relationships work.
Yeah.
And then you now grow up and then you're not asked to now get into a relationship. You wonder, how I make a mistake? What if I don't get it right? So it's better for me to stay alone. There's this feeling of I have default setting, like my father. Right? So if one doesn't consciously unlearn some mindset, single parents, especially those raised by women, they tend to take a mindset of, so that same mindset is what the child or the daughter, and I feel it's not fair when people just think they are still exception to the rule.
Yes.
That's how dynamic the youth that comes. Because it's possible to be raised by single parents,
Yes.
and then you have no presence around you, and then still be balanced at the end of the day.
Right. Right. We're still talking about the effect of single-parent household on the development of a child. This conversation is in commemoration of Children's Day we celebrated just a few days ago. And mental health is still part of health. And we need to talk about the household. And we want to talk about some of the emotional, special guest here, Essay Ayabene. And it makes me really glad that she's also telling. Some would say that the effects usually vary depending on the gender. Don't have the ability to feel things as deeply as you would expect a girl child to. Most times you would expect, maybe because I watched my mom have to be subconsciously, he needed to be, should I say, the buffer between two women. And he's a lot softer, he's a lot emotional, but the effects usually different for a boy and a girl being raised in a single.
That question is very dynamic because there is no fixed. There are other factors that should be considered, not in tune with their feelings, because there are hormones that are tied to rage, who tend to be more aggressive. So, like I said, there are other factors. Yours is peculiar because you are the first child. Maybe if you were the middle child, it would have been different. It's peculiar to our African homes to have the first daughter step in as the mother when the mother is not around. Has to step in a little bit more. It's now maybe the middle child. It could be less. But
no, please go ahead.
For single parents. That what causes a lot of stress. Some parents are not available for their children at all. In fact, they are almost invisible. You understand?
Yes.
So that kind of parents will experience that same amount of stress, and they will now pass on that stress. Become independent very early, and then not learn to trust others because unconsciously. Now, one of the things that happens with single parents is if the single parent had a traumatic marriage or relationship with their spouse and they don't heal from it, they would try, or this is how people are, or like what we say, men are. I don't like that generalized statement. All men are. It icks me. Or all women are. For women that maybe they cheat on their spouse, then the father will not. I would always advise my clients when they have issues with their spouses, keep their own opinion. The irony of it is sometimes when you tend to want to spoil the relationship of your spouse or your ex with your child, perception is greater than reality. You're not building a perception. You're saying, oh, father was wrong with this, and then the child is coming up with a perception of all men are like that because for them, saying that children even pick up on lies. I'm saying don't be the reason why the relationship between the father and child gets bad. Don't be like, oh, I'll take it upon myself to make sure that my spouse or my ex will not.
I have a lot of stories, yes. It takes me back, and it's just a part of myself that I'm really not interested in dinner together. It was an etiquette class. And you're supposed to bring your dad, you do the make-believe dinner scenario, they teach school, me. And it was so weird because in my class, there were some children that didn't have, but you know what, let's just do make-believe. I'll throw on a suit and just sit with you. I know that it was very absurd for me. I didn't feel great the rest of the day. And I was even a tad bit upset with my mom all through the course of the day. And she was wondering, what have I done to you? You came back from school and you've been all aggressive towards me. And I felt like a part of me started blaming her. I mean, I knew the situation, but just because of my experience, I went home and I was upset with her. I mean, if you did not fight with him, he did. Yes. So I don't know when I was a child. So can we talk about how these things can make it worse when as a community you can't talk to her, you can't talk to him, a situation they had no control over? Don't you think that's a community?
We're more open to such this conversation now. They knew that already. I'm not sure your mom hid the fact that your father wasn't in the picture. So they should have taken that into consideration and found another way around it. Even if it was for the sake of one child, there's nothing wrong in saying, okay, but for this, the irony of what that learning experience was. Most
children don't spend time with their dads, something like that. Yeah.
No, so what I mean is they would have found it soon. That's the thing. When school, no, what I mean is if they had switched it up. I'm just trying to think out
an alternative.
Maybe our teachers, they will all be on the table.
Right.
Let them know how to eat together, because and go to side down. And then the school will not be saying things like, "Oh, if only we had known." You know, that's the thing. Better. in the first place. Now, I'm saying this, if you're a school owner and anxiety, it's not a topic that they are aware of. So they are more prone to it because they are aware of it. So the child, I believe more conversations like this should come out where people married. I'm with my husband, we raise our kids together. But I will not, one should not look at another person and judge that person. And definitely, sometimes some of those relationships and some marriages that are, and it's because of this kind of conversation because they are afraid of the stigma. I remember my dad was that abusive, always hitting my mom from the home. I don't, when I see such now, that's for my children. So imagine people, because of the stigma, I think this is 2025. I want to believe that because they knew that they themselves speak ill about single parents. It's not fair. We should.
We're still talking
Sorry,
about.
I'm a bit passionate about.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
It's a personal experience for me too. So, but it is a necessary conversation that we have to have. We're still talking about the effect of single parenthood on the development of a child. Let's take it a bit higher now to when these children jokes that maybe you're attracted to older men because you're looking for what your dad did not give you. It has become a joke, but some people don't know what to do with jokes that kill them, that almost ruin them emotionally. And someone will say, well, maybe you don't like younger guys because you're looking for a replacement for your dad. The fact that he was not there when you were a child. There are things that even in the context of relationship, you're all at the end of the day, you might manipulate me the way my father manipulated my mom. You might walk away the way my mom walked away. And then they don't know how to operate, even when a person clearly cares about. Do you think that this feeling is oftentimes escalated by the bitter as a result of this walking away, and it makes them not able to express their emotions to a person that they have that they have feelings for? What influence does this have in the context of romantic relationships?
The spouse, they feel they left them. So yes, and if they are not careful in handling that, if the irony of it is when it happens once, it becomes a bias. There's a law of confirmation bias that says that when you believe something is because they will always be. You don't think about it from the context of not every just will work. So after a while, after confirming that bias over time, it becomes a rule. So if one doesn't heal from such grief, yes, it will affect every relationship they get into. Just the way I said, unconsciously unconsciously. So it should be a conscious thing. This is how, when I have a relationship, this is how I handle it. If it doesn't work, this is how. We prepare more for success than failure. And so when it happens, when things work out, we just let it feel the way it feels. Like, okay, let me just, bury the thing, thinking by burying it, we just resolve. It doesn't. So when you bury issues and you don't think about it, you don't bring it to light and scan and question whether this is real. At the end of the day, you will form negative mindset about people, negative conceptions about relationship, and that will keep happening. Like I said, law of confirmation bias. It will keep happening because unconsciously you will keep sorting the same kind of people. Or have you noticed that if one sees a certain kind of experience with one, have you had any friend like that maybe dated this kind of girl? The next relationship too. But if they take a step back and ask them, what did I do wrong? What did they do wrong? Okay, what can I do better? Okay, then they heal from that and they move on. So from my own childhood trauma, I took a picture, or I looked for a picture of myself of what before. I think a lot of people need to do that to their inner child.
Can performing well in school, this and this, you're on a path, you are involved in certain vice. Most time in single parent households, it's typically the father that walks away, or at least that's what should I say, have to stay if it's uncomfortable for them. But what kind of influence does this have, for example, or whether or not a child is going to be properly behaved or badly behaved? Hello?
Sorry. So studies have actually shown that, yes, it does affect academic performance. Single parents, children raised in single parent homes tend to behave different poorly. Some, not all, larger amounts of children tend to be poorly academically. Because the education itself, just the other factors, the stigma, the everything that comes in play that might have to prove themselves. And then another challenge is when a child just reinforces the fact that yes, you see, I'm a failure, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, maybe that's why my dad left me, maybe that's why my mom left me, and so on and so forth. And if that mindset continues, definitely academic
single parent households to understand that they're not responsible, it's not their fault. They don't have to make up for the parent that left. I told you that I borderline had to stop playing their children, but helping children understand you don't have to become logical at 4 years old. You don't have to become logical at society because your one parent walked away from you. How do we help children understand that the course of their life doesn't ultimately have to be altered because one parent walked away?
If a single parent clings to their child, definitely that will give the child the impression that something is wrong, but the parent is vulnerable. You understand? So the single parent needs to heal. In one night stand, whether it was with me, whether it was the pregnancy that was just those kind of emotional baggage, the child will naturally in the rest. And they should avoid statements like, you see, I'm the only one, or you can see I'm the only one. Now, it gives the child the form of their embodiment to you. Unfortunately, it's telling you to ask for something. You should make them comfortable enough to talk to you when you need something. And you should have to, if not that it's just me, then the child will now want to be more self-sufficient because they want to. You can have it from our parents.
Yes. I mean, I heard it. If it was not because I had to take care of both of you,
I'm the reason why I'm the reason in memory is fast. Remember and time sticks to it. The only reason is mistake. Let me give you a very good example. I celebrated my birthday for so my parents. So at that point in time, I was celebrating on that day, not knowing that my birthday. So that's how it came. So you should accept that it's not for your father. So definitely, I should not go fast because my father should want to go for that competition because if you have to go for the competition, my mom will need to pay time. The child has been told they should heal better. And they should accept where or their real child for the women and anytime lose it because they did not heal. It's
acting conversation, and I appreciate you for your time. Thank you so very much. And this book, until you understand that these are real lives. When we reel out statistics, people think they're just numbers, but these numbers represent you think that they don't have it in them to function within a family structure just because they grew up having to see one parent do it all. But you've heard our analysts say it is not your fault. There's nothing you could have done about it. Parents that have been hurt, especially those who separated due to a traumatic marriage, should not transfer that bitterness to their children. And as a community, you should not judge children that came out of single parent households. You should stop with the phrase fatherless what. You make them question whether or not they have anything to offer. You make it their personality, the fact that one parent left their life, a situation that was totally out of their conditions like this one with you. You have a great day.
Thank you, Faith. Have a nice day.
Have a better one. Thank you. Well, there you have it. That's the conversation we had. We spoke about the academic influence. We spoke about the factor of community. We spoke about how these children, even eventually when they grow up, function within a romantic relationship, and how most time they are unable to fully commit to relationships because they are afraid, just like my daddy left, just like my mommy left, chances are you are going to leave me too. And this is a deep mental, psychological issue, understanding that you should afford them. You should understand that this is how they've been brought up. And I'm not saying that you should then begin to allow yourself to be manipulated, who were happy, who were in love, who did things together. If you find yourself with somebody who you should understand is not because they think that you cannot help them, it's because they did not grow up and support you. You don't have to be afraid that I'll walk away from you for them to function within the context of relationships, whether platonic or romantic relationships. So thank you so very much. Even schools, pay attention. All right, pay attention to students among their peers. Don't create a situation where other students start to bully them, are in their formative years, and what you do with them, they're like clay, and how you mold them, by the time the clay becomes cast, it becomes hardened. It's very difficult to reshape it. It becomes really, really difficult to fix them. Children's party, we're going to have at least 200 children in the premises. I don't know what to do with myself, but it makes me very happy that we told you to come and you actually are coming. Thank you so much, Hob, Blight and Junot. All our sponsors have been wonderful, and we're grateful for the generosity and your desire to see these children happy. We have games planned out for you. Mama Rainbow, who will be coming as well. She's the mother of we have drinks for you. We have games. We also have our debate competition. Don't forget the topic, right? 9 and 10 years old, because they can better articulate themselves. So think of yourself as a president. You're reading your manifesto to us. You want us to vote for you. What would you tell us on at the event itself, and not on air? But the debate will be on air so that people can also call in and send messages and tell us what they think about your presentation. So every 10-year-old and 9-year-old that will be coming tomorrow, start preparing. Let mommy and daddy help you prepare. Debate competition, we have gifts for you, and people would listen to you. Let's see how smart you really are. Let's see what you can do. Bala, this has been my time. Stick around. We still have a lot of fun coming your way. At 12 noon, of course, we'll bring to you the news bulletin, and a lot of fun coming your way. We're already planning. I'm amongst the planning committee for the children's party, so I'll step away to continue to assist to make sure tomorrow is a beautiful and a splendid day. Thank you so much.